I'm going to take the unusual step, Madam Deputy Speaker, of actually thanking two journalists, Lisa O'Carroll of The Guardian and whoever writes the BBC website, because they wrote about this all last week. That's relevant because I've got three constituents who would not have known about this had it not been for the media coverage. And that's really serious for some of them. I've got one constituent in their 90s who's had a number of strokes, and their daughter, who's a dual national, whose passport ran out last month, felt she could not return to see her own parent. And that is a disaster, a family disaster for them. I take the view that one of the absolute constitutional rights of British citizenship is the right to return to your own country and not to be intimidated out of doing so. So can I say this to the Minister? I don't particularly demand a reply today, but I've written to him or written to Home Secretary, will they consider having a simple grace period of 6 months to allow people to get across this and stop people having their families disrupted?
Minister.
Thank the Right Honourable Member for his question about his three constituents. I'm going to let him into a little secret here that perhaps that media coverage is as a result of the Home Office's efforts to get this information out there as widely as we possibly can. There is no intimidation here. This is about a secure border and modernising. The equivalent nations around the world are doing exactly the same. On the individual circumstances, of course, no answer today, but let's get together on Monday and we can go through that.
Tom Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. On behalf of my constituent David, I want to ask his question, which is whether the ETA regime has created a de facto UK passport requirement for British citizens. And on behalf of Dolores, my constituent, her son, Tommy Roberts, was murdered in Bournemouth, aged 21, an aspiring Royal Marine. He was killed by somebody I won't name in this Parliament who shouldn't have been in this country. I want to thank the Minister for Border Security and Asylum who met with me recently about this matter. We are not past Brexit because that murder was possible because of a lack of intelligence sharing. Would the Minister share how the Home Office is acting through these changes to stop illegal migrants and foreign criminals from coming into our country?
Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for his question, and my sympathy, of course, goes to his constituent. These changes do make a more secure border. It means that we can check whether foreign criminals are coming into the country, and if they are, we can stop them, and that makes us all safer.
Shadow Minister Lisickan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Minister for his response. The ETA scheme was introduced by the Conservative government to secure and modernise Britain's borders. Under the previous system, someone holding a passport from a non-visa nation could enter the UK for 6 months with minimal formality. That left the Home Office unable to distinguish between a genuine British citizen travelling on a foreign passport and someone who had simply overstayed. These changes strengthen our borders, and the Liberal Democrat suggestion that 3 years' notice is somehow insufficient, I'm afraid, is not serious policy making. Most immigration and border changes take effect within months. Tax changes happen within a single budget cycle. A 3-year transition for a documentation requirement is not unreasonable. This change does not remove rights. It does not strip anyone of citizenship. It concerns the evidence required when travelling. People have known since 2023 that change was coming, and therefore this is not a radical change. Citizenship carries rights, but it also carries responsibilities. Maintaining appropriate documentation is one of them. If the Liberal Democrats wish to argue for weaker evidential standards at the border, they should do so plainly. What they should not do is pretend that 3 years' notice is somehow an injustice. Now, turning to practical questions, the Minister has set out what plans there are, contingency plans to support those dual nationals. But can the Minister confirm that consular services within the Foreign Office will be properly resourced to support individuals? Will he also commit, however, to improve the communications plan, which has been insufficient? I note that ahead of today there has been no communications on his Twitter account, when normally he's so busy creating Twitter videos that he believes may or may not go viral. I also understand some airlines are expecting expired British passports issued since 1989, but can the Minister confirm whether this will become a consistent approach across all airlines, because that is the minimum expectation that the government should be putting in place with them? Can the Minister also finally confirm what specific efforts have been made to ensure those serving under the King's colours, if deployed abroad, will have no issues coming home? We on this side support robust improvements to make sure we have enforceable borders.
Minister.
thank the right honourable member for her questions, and agreement across the House on much of this is welcome, despite the mess that we inherited from the previous government on immigration. On the question of consular services, yes, they are in place, but of course they are unlimited. So this is for the most extreme cases, such as bereavements and funerals or urgent medical care. On the use of social media, I have actually posted a tweet on X this morning relating to this. I'm surprised that the honourable member isn't monitoring that, and I suggest that she puts me on alerts. In terms of the advice to airlines around the passports that that were issued after 1989, that is the advice that has been issued, but of course we can't control exactly what each carrier does. And when it comes to our military, as a veteran myself, a very proud veteran, it's important that they are served correctly by the government, and of course they'll have no issues returning to the country.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I can't be the only member of this House who's had constituents who are dual nationals who are finding it very, very difficult to get hold of passports overseas. The information requirements and the data that's required is making it really difficult for them. So I just wonder whether, in light of those difficulties, the Minister might consider an interim measure, perhaps allowing those individuals to use electronic travel authorisation for a limited amount of time while they sort out the ability to get hold of the passports.
Minister.
Thank the honourable member for her question. We can't open ETAs to British citizens for the reasons that I explained in my statement. The turnaround time on these applications is good. We're looking at within 4 weeks, on average 9 days, but please, as I said to many on Monday, do bring that specific case to the drop-in.
Francis.
Deputy Speaker, my constituent Steve Bainbridge is a dual UK Greek national. He's raised his experience when a delay in receiving his UK passport forced him to have to use his Greek passport to allow him to attend his daughter's wedding here in the UK. He's also highlighted bureaucratic issues faced when women travelling from Greece that they have because their passports require their maiden name to be placed in their passport, and also Greek documents have a different alphabet to British documents. So would the Minister be able to outline, if your UK passport is delayed, how you would avoid paying several £100s, and how those bureaucratic issues that Steve has highlighted could be avoided?
Minister.
Thanks for my honourable friend for the question. I'll urge a meeting on Monday to go through the details of this rather than try and break it down in the glare of the public eye. Thank you.
Charles.